I see that your hand is raised.
Yes,
Mike,
thank
is your
you.
hand raised?
It is. Thank you, April. I would like to add an agenda item, if you don't mind, following Funders Council this morning. Funders Council, through motion, has asked me to make a recommendation to Providers Council that Providers and Funders Councils meet jointly for the 6 meetings versus just the 4 and the 2. So I presented that to you all.
What was there a reason for that?
So there was a big conversation. As you know, there's a struggle to get a chair to vice chair for funders. A lot of the jurisdiction has gone to their legal departments, and the legal departments within the jurisdictions and the municipalities have said there is a conflict and a concern of having a staff member as the chair of funders, which would then put them in the COC board seat. So the conversation centered around the synergy within the funders and the providers meeting together, and how that was very beneficial, and how they felt that it allowed the needle to be moved at a better pace.
All right, well, we'll add it to the agenda. I want to make sure that we get to our agenda item. I don't know how much discussion.
Yeah, they just asked me to present it to you all, so I'm sure, I mean, there's time to discuss it. They didn't want me to come back with a vote from you all, but they asked me to present it to you as moving forward in the upcoming year.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, very good. So our agenda, pretty much our sole agenda item for today's meeting, and if we have time, we can certainly come back to at least discuss this thing that's brought forward, is I have sent to you as detailed of an email as I could, and then a slate for consideration. So when this email went out at the end of October, I did invite any member of the Providers Council to send me an email if they were interested in serving as a chair or the vice chair. I did not receive any emails expressing interest. Victoria, are you trying to talk to us? Okay.
So sorry, I was trying to tell Lieutenant Hayes is in Teams, so I was trying to tell him to come over here. Sorry.
Okay. In any case, I did not receive any emails from any of the providers expressing interest in the chair or the vice chair secretary position. So with that, I think the first order of business then would be to take action on the chair of Providers Council. We can't accept nominations from the floor per the charter. So I'm just going to pause for just a second to see if there are any nominations from the floor who would like to be considered or added to this slate for the chair. Okay, hearing none, then I would like to take action on the slate that is before you. I think we should take action on these separately just to avoid confusion, because there is quite a few moving parts. So Kevin Marone has volunteered to serve as the chair of Providers Council. Kevin, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yes, before the voting on it, I'd like to have some transparency conversation regarding the nomination.
Okay, go right ahead.
You know, I've given this a lot of thought. I know that, you know, there didn't seem to be, you know, people, you know, stepping forward for the role. And, you know, I'm always here to try and help move the system forward. I think it's just important to recognize maybe some of the differences between my position as chair versus let's just say April or potentially another provider, and that I oversee an organization that has a significant amount of dollars tied to our continuum of care. And although as chair, I would not be, you know, involved in the ranking and reviewing process, I just think it's important for transparency purposes, because I've given this a lot of thought, and there are some concerns that I have. Although myself and I think BOLI historically has always been, have always come from the place of understanding the greater system needs and has even at times given up some of our dollars to meet some of the reallocation needs and processes. I still oversee an organization with a lot of continuum of care dollars that has been acquired over decades that support assets that the organization has acquired. And so I want to make sure from all transparency that there will be times through Providers Council where I'll be in that in discussions that role. And there might be times where I might feel I need to, step away from certain things to avoid any conflicts of interest in the process. I do not want to be in a position where I feel that because of that role, I'm persuading certain conversations or situations inappropriately. And I would seek anyone on the council, if there ever were that kind of situation, to recognize it, and I will be the type of chair that would accept that recognition as we move forward. So I just, want to make sure that that is out there before any voting took place, because I don't know if everyone on the call, recognizes BOLI's role, but I just think it's important.
Thank you, Kevin, for that. I agree with you, and I too have given it a lot of thought. The thing that I'll point out, I think that you pointed out as well, but the thing that I'll point out is that the vast majority of the funds that, if not all of them, that BOLI receives through the COC, goes through a pretty comprehensive rank and review process, the scoring, all those kinds of things. And so I do think that there are strategies that are built in or protocols that are built in to try to recognize any potential conflicts and to separate the order of business. So again, I believe that you can serve without conflict. Directions for Living also, competitively procures and competes for funding, not through the NOFO or the HUD funding, but local funding. And I really do believe that that's been able to be managed fairly. So does anybody else have any questions for Kevin about that before we were to take action or call for the vote? Does anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns about the information that Kevin's brought forward?
I just say, Kevin, I appreciate where you're at, and I think we all, not just with this board, but with other boards, run into this. I think that you just need to understand when you should recuse from things or not. I mean, that's really what happens on other boards that we're on. As an agency, I'm on the Career Source Board, and we run into that sometimes with contracts. I don't think anyone here, outside of not liking you a whole lot, would question your integrity and anything to do with you or, Gary prior to you. You guys are, obviously I was joking about liking you. You're a wonderful person. But I think that we all trust that you have BOLI's best interest in mind, but you also have the Continuum's best interest in mind and the Providers Council's best interest in mind. And I appreciate you bringing it up. I think we all do, but I think we all are comfortable that you'll recuse yourself when you need to.
Thank you.
And I see Dr. Cantrell has put a thumbs up there. So, okay, if there are no other questions, I see I'm trying to manage, the screen with chats and whatnot. Please just jump in if I'm not recognizing you, if I haven't seen your hand go up. If there are no other questions, comments, concerns regarding that issue or any other issue, then we'll go ahead and I'll call for a motion to approve Kevin Marone as the chair for Providers Council, which will begin January 1st, 2024.
I'll second.
Will you just do the motion and then somebody else give me a second?
I did second. I said I second.
I know, but I can't make the motion.
I see. I'll make the motion to approve Kevin as the chair of the Providers Council for, is it the next 2 years?
Yes.
For the next 2 years.
I second that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Wonderful. Thank you, Kevin, very much for volunteering to serve in that position. I have been in this position for quite some time, and it has been wonderful and not so wonderful at times, but nonetheless, it has been wonderful, and I appreciate you stepping into the role. Which brings us to the next position. Per the charter, we need a vice chair of the Providers Council. I have agreed to serve as the vice chair to support Kevin in his role as the Providers Council chair. That is not required by charter. I did do a call to the entire committee asking if anybody wanted to volunteer. I did not receive any interest in serving as the vice chair. I will now do a call for motion or for nominations from the floor. If anybody here would like to serve as the vice chair, the role of the vice chair really is to serve and support the chair. So in the event that Kevin would not be available to facilitate or to chair a Providers Council, that he would do that, the vice chair would do that in his absence, and would serve to support the chair as needed. If there were a need to sit, to go to the COC board of directors meeting because he couldn't be there, that kind of thing. But in general, it's to support the chair.
I'll make the nomination that we nominate, or I will make the nomination of April Lott to serve as vice chair for the Providers Council for the next 2 years.
I'll second.
So we have a motion. Any other nominations from the floor? I don't want to overlook anybody. Okay, so we have a motion and a second for myself to serve as the vice chair in support of Kevin as the chair. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you for that. And the next up is the secretary. If you're interested in serving as a secretary, again, I did not receive any interest via email, so we can take nominations from the floor. The secretary position is not a heavy lift for anybody who might be interested in kind of, stepping into a more leadership role on the Providers Council. It historically was responsible for taking the minutes and those kinds of things, but with the support of the staff of the HLA, that task has predominantly been removed. Lenny does that for us, and communication. So really, it would only be if we need the secretary of the Providers Council to sign documents. That happens very few and far between. There really isn't additional time commitment for the secretary. So do we have anybody on the Providers Council who would like to express interest in serving as the secretary?
Can someone serve as a secretary and a service expert?
Yes.
I'm willing to do it.
Thank you, Michael. I don't think there will be a really much addition because you're already so involved. Are there any other nominations from the floor for the secretary position of the Providers Council? Monica, do you have your hand up?
No, that was just me clapping for
Oh,
Michael. to
okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, any other nominations from the floor? Can I get a motion for Michael Gelazzo?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Wonderful. Okay, next up is our service expert. So Michael Gelazzo, his first term, I believe, will be coming to an end on December 31st. He is eligible to serve as a service expert again. I put all this in the email. Again, I asked for individuals to let me know if they were interested in serving as a service expert. Just for the sake of all of our membership here today, if you serve as a service expert, that then entitles you to a seat on the COC. So we have 3 service experts and a chair, and that all have seats on the COC. The expectation is, of course, is that you can attend all meetings and that you're willing to advocate for the things that we need to be advocating for without putting your agency ahead of the needs of the COC. So at this point, I want to ask for any nominations from the floor to serve as the service expert. Victoria, do you have your hand raised?
I did. Sorry, I couldn't catch who seconded approving Michael Gelazzo as the secretary, and I needed to get that for posterity's sake.
Does anybody remember who was the second?
Dr. Cantrell.
Thank you,
Dr.
Dr. Cantrell, and thank you, Kevin.
Okay, seeing no nominations from the floor to serve as a service expert, can I get a motion to approve Michael Gelazzo to serve another term as the service expert?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, very good. Thank you to all of you who seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Wonderful. Thank you, Michael, for agreeing to serve another 2-year term as one of our service experts. I did put in the email, Lariana from CASA is also one of our service experts that we took action on, I believe, a year ago. She's finishing the second year of her second term, so no actions required on her. She will expire next December. She's also eligible to serve again, but we'll be doing this kind of thing again next year. All right, so the next one is the service expert 2. Because Kevin has moved to the chair, he will have a seat on the COC and therefore cannot hold 2 seats, as you might imagine. So he is currently serving as one of the service experts. So because he is moving to the chair, that's no longer needed. So he'll be vacating that position. So we have a service expert seat open, available. This is a little tricky here. I did again call for interest via email and I received none. I realize everybody's very, very busy. So I want to make sure that we give everybody an opportunity here. As you can see on the slate, it said Kevin Marone or April Lott. Basically what that meant is that if we did not elect Kevin as the chair, that we would have re-elected him as the service expert. Because that was taken care of, that's no longer an issue. I am willing to serve as a service expert. It is not required by charter. And quite frankly, if others are interested in serving on the COC as a service expert from the Providers Council, this would be a great opportunity for you. So I do just want to make sure that we're giving everybody the opportunity to think that through right now and calling for nominations from the floor.
Just to make sure I understand this correctly, Lariana has another year, so we're
Yes.
only okay. So right now it would be myself, Lariana, and whoever the third person. Okay.
In addition to our chair, which occupies the
Right.
fourth, so to speak. Yeah.
I mean, I would encourage people to consider doing it. I certainly would welcome. I can't imagine being on that board without April being there, but I would imagine you would still participate on some level. I would certainly encourage anyone else who wants to, have some sort of bigger role in the full board to consider it. But again, if not, I'm going to make the motion to nominate April Lott for the service expert 2 seat.
All right, so we'll give everybody just a minute to volunteer to be the service expert. Again, I agree. I don't want anybody to think that my feelings would be hurt or any of those kinds of things. It really is a good opportunity for others to take a more active, I guess I'd just say a more active role. It is not terribly time intensive as a service expert because you're not required, for example, you don't sit on the executive committee and have to attend multiple executive committee and that kind of thing meetings. It is an additional meeting, so you would be on Providers Council, which meets every other month, and then the COC board, which also meets every other month. So it is one additional meeting, and then you are asked to participate in one committee. So I see Christine Long has said that she is interested. Can I just verify, Christine? I need to make sure that you are right now a formal member of the membership of Providers Council. Victoria, is there any way to verify that? Do we have an application? And I just don't recall taking the vote.
Lenny, do you know if that was part of one of the previous meetings? I can confirm that Metropolitan Ministries and Christine Long are COC members. Lenny, could you please pull up the Providers Council?
Christine, for example, this is some of the information that you would have to help me with, and I'll be able to help, which is, you're currently providing services, and are you currently a HMIS member, and you're entering data into HMIS?
I can confirm that, April, actually, yeah.
Okay. So, Christine, do you know if you have completed the application for Providers Council? Christine, can you hear me?
Like she got kicked off somehow.
Oh, no.
Where'd she go?
Of course.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for her to come back in and Lenny is looking that up, I might suggest that if we don't have that updated application on file and the council is open to it, perhaps we tentatively discuss accepting that nomination pending the application and approval of the application. That's just my 2 cents, though.
Okay, we can do that. We can do that. So we would have then 2 nominations for the seat. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Okay, so we will take action. We are voting either for myself or for Christine, with the caveat that Christine, we will run that to ground. And if that has not been done, then we would probably have to take action on that at our first meeting to make sure that she's an approved member, and then move to put her in the seat. That's your suggestion, correct, Victoria?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Basically to just tentatively accept pending approval of the application.
Okay. Okay, so how do we do this?
I don't know how I
Monica?
can vote on.
Before we do this, I want to have a quick discussion. April, obviously you bring a level of expertise to all this, and this is not meant as any disrespect for other people serving. And I know I'm the one who said that I would encourage other people to do it. I think it's important that your voice still remain on the main board. So I mean, if this is one of the things where you really don't want to serve, but will still be involved, great. But in making the decision as to who we're going to vote for here, I mean, I would step away myself in lieu of not having your voice on the main board. And I just think that obviously your passion, you and I've talked about this many times, it's important. So I don't know how to have that discussion before we vote. Because I'm all for mixing it up, but I would rather step down myself and have your voice there than not. And that's not meant as any kind of disrespect to anyone else. So I'm just thought I'd throw my 2 cents in there.
Kevin?
Well, in my 2 cents is it's hard for me to vote on someone that I haven't seen, heard, and now they just dropped off. So like I'd want to learn a little bit more about.
Yeah, I don't really know
There we
Christine.
go.
I'm sure she'd be great. And she's reconnecting now.
Okay, good. But I agree with Michael as well. April, you bring a lot of perspective. So
Yeah, I am conflicted, would be the word that I would use. This work has been a part of my DNA for quite some time. The learning curve is pretty significant, with understanding all of the rules around not just the COC, but the HLA, the differences between the two, and the Hearth Act and all that comes with it. The learning curve is quite significant. And so, I am willing to serve, to continue to serve. However, with that said, I am also aware that, we have to give people an opportunity to jump in. With Christine, I don't know Christine as well as I wish I knew Christine, and maybe we can get to know each other over the next year. But getting involved, getting to the level of knowledge that some of us have requires getting involved, right? And so that's why I feel conflicted.
Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is
Yes.
Christine. I keep losing my signal, so I apologize. It keeps popping in and out at the most inopportune times. But I'm happy to serve. I've served on both in Hillsborough and Pasco County, as well as at the state level. So I'm pretty familiar with the process. But I completely respect the need to get more engaged in Pinellas County. Know more folks. Whatever you guys are comfortable with. I'm obviously excited about getting more engaged with all of you guys in Pinellas County, and we're looking forward to many years of serving together. So whatever your decision is, I completely understand. I just thought I'd put it out there. If it's something that you're interested in, I'm happy to support and work with all of you.
Thank you for that, Christine. That was lovely to hear you say all of that, and I look forward to working with you and getting to know you. I guess I didn't realize that you had come from Hillsborough. You came from Hillsborough, or you came from Pasco, or you came from both?
Both. I have served on both of their boards and all of their COC committees. I've been, of course, in this for 30 years, so I've done about everything. And primarily in Hillsborough County, and then just recently, the last few years, been serving also in Pasco County, as well as on the state coalition for a few years.
Okay, so I think we do need to call the vote. I'm not sure how to necessarily do it on the, thank you, Victoria. So Met Ministries is also serving on the Point in Time Planning Committee, per the note from Victoria, which is a really good way to get involved. In any case, I think we should call the vote. Victoria, I might need you to help me, right? I can only see so much on my screen. But what do we do? Do we just ask people to name the person which one they want to vote for and go from there, or how do we do that?
I think it would probably be best to have everybody put it into the chat. Is that what you're going to say, Victoria? Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that, or a roll call vote.
Okay.
So
I
did
think
you
that-
want,
I think the chat is fine because then we have we can memorialize it, right?
perfect,
Yes.
perfect.
Okay, so if everybody will put in the chat, you know, who your vote is for the service expert 2 position on the Providers Council.
On that note, please only put your vote in the chat if you are a voting member of the Providers Council.
Thank you for that reminder, Victoria. I am going to abstain from the vote. Is that fair?
That is fair.
Okay.
Yes.
Victoria, I am not monitoring the chat, okay?
That's okay. I am.
Okay.
We have 5 votes in so far.
Okay.
That's 6, 7. Let me pop that out. It's a little hard to follow when it's so small. 6, 7. Thank you, Michael, for sending Mickey's vote as well. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 votes. April is abstaining. Anybody else? Because I know that there were a couple more voting members on the poll. Zach White, are you able to abstain? Thank you very much. Let's see, Jennifer, if you could also cast your vote, I would appreciate it. Helen, if you have a vote for the city of St. Pete. And then I think that will be everybody once we have those in. And if I don't get those votes from Helen and Jennifer in just a second, I'm going to consider them abstained. That's a fair response, Helen. Not sure what to do. Okay, that's okay. All right, Jennifer is abstaining, and Helen, would you like me to consider your vote abstained as well? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and abstain for the city of St. Pete as well. Thank you, Helen. I did get your messages privately there. Thank you. Okay, in that case, then we have 4 abstentions and 7 who have voted to elect April as the service expert. Also, though, in the chat was the recommendation that since Lariana will term out at the end of next year, that Christine and Metropolitan Ministries continue the involvement in the Providers Council and potentially step into that role at the end of 2024, beginning of 2025.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, with that vote, then do we need to take action on that, or that is the action, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yes?
Well, per Robert's rules, that would be the vote. We wouldn't need
Okay.
a further action.
Okay,
Mhm.
perfect. Okay, thank you, Monica. Okay, you guys, that takes care of our slate and the action that we needed to take care of there. I do now want to see if we can just take a minute to maybe discuss the calendar for next year prior to Monica bringing forward the question from the Funders Council, which met this morning. We have identified our potential calendar for calendar year 2024. I did reach out to the Habitat for Humanity to secure our dates, and those have been approved and or secured by Habitat for Humanity. That does not mean they can't change. We had originally taken action some months ago to move from 2 of our 6 meetings to be joint with the Funders Council to 4 of them to be joint meetings. And then, of course, we heard from Monica that they are now requesting that all 6 of them be joint meetings. Before we begin that discussion, let me just get on your calendar the dates and give everybody an opportunity to kind of look them over to see if we can't take action. If we can't take action today, then we would need to take action at our first meeting in February. So the dates are February 23rd, April 12th. I will note that Funders Council has a different date for April. I think theirs is the 19th. Our date was 4/12. The next one was 6/21, 8/16, 10/18, and 12/13 or December 13th. That would be our 6 meeting dates. Of those 6 meeting dates, the 3 that we are in agreement with Funders Council is 6/21, 8/16, and 10/18. As I indicated a minute ago, we have a bit of a conflict on 4/12 versus 4/19. Because they don't have a chair, I've been unable to have that conversation with them about if they could move their date to ours. So anyway, I just want to get that on your. So Kevin, I really want to hear from you first. How do these dates fit for you?
I don't think I got them down quick enough.
Okay, I can give them to you again. You ready?
I was trying to put them in my calendar, but I'm just gonna write them down because that's quicker. So we have February 23rd.
Yep. April 12th.
April 12th.
June 21st. August 16th. October 18th. And December 13th.
Is there a time for all of those?
Yes, our time historically has been 1:30 to 3:30.
Okay, so same, okay.
Yes. But it's a fair question, Dolores, because the Funders Council meets in the morning. Generally, I think theirs is like 9 to 11. Am I right? And so when we originally we agreed to the 2 joint meetings, and then we went to the 4 meetings. And so what we did is kind of 2 of them would be from 9 to 11 and 2 of them would be from 1:30 to 3:30. Again, I have not, because they don't have a chair, it's been a little challenging for me to have that conversation because nobody on the Funders Council feels like they are in a position to weigh in on that. Did they take any action today, by the way, Monica?
We spoke about it. Nobody volunteered for chair or vice chair.
Gosh,
one.
what's
I
going
think-
on?
Well, the concern, April, and everyone else is the fact that all the municipalities have gone back to their legal. And legal has advised them not to serve on any board where they could be in conflict with the voting representative.
So how is a combined meeting going to solve that issue? How will we move anything forward?
Correct.
So politics,
Is
basically.
there a suggestion that they're gonna fold the Funders Council into the Providers Council?
I think their suggestion is best as they can put it, is it would be a one joint council now.
And see, I don't feel like we can, I mean, we can certainly have the discussion and, you know, give the pros and the cons to that. But as you know, that would require a charter change.
Yep.
I mean, it would require
Multiple charter changes,
multiple
charter.
right.
Yeah.
Our charter, Providers Council, Funders Council, the
COC.
COC, we would have to involve our attorney. I mean, there's a lot of things that would need to, I mean,
but
again,
no one's gonna volunteer to do it. So,
well,
I mean, I believe you and I have both gently suggested to people to consider it. And there's, I mean, like any feedback I've gotten has been a hard no.
well, you know, one of the, first of all, I just want to say out loud, right, to the group that, you know, I'm calling BS on the reason, right, around this, you know, conflict thing, because like Kevin said in the beginning, right, all of us are walking multiple balance beams here, and you just have to abstain, and or just like we had people abstain today, it's like they don't feel like they can cast a vote for whatever reason. You don't even have to declare why you're abstaining, you just abstain from the vote. And so it just feels it feels like a cop-out to me, number one. Number two, there are people where that is not the case. And so, for example, I know that we identified Janine from the Juvenile Welfare Board. And so has she been approached, Monica?
She was, and after our meeting, and she said she does not have time to do it.
So I do think that might be the bigger, it would be so much easier for me to hear if the issue really was that it's the time commitment, because that's, you know, hashtag fair enough, right? I mean, that's a pretty fair.
I mean, I can state, since I see Janine a lot, that she is on back-to-back meetings daily.
Right.
She's very inundated, but I mean, she's really great to serve, you know, with anyone, and she, like, her speaking is very eloquent and all that, but I know she is inundated daily.
Yeah. I wonder if you would, Monica, did we ask her about serving as vice chair?
I just put chocolate in my mouth. Sorry. I will ask her about it. We did talk about chair and vice chair at the morning meeting this morning, and there was no interest on either position from anyone though.
So how are they moving forward without a leader, without a chair?
The meeting today was chaired by me. Councilmember Beckman was there. We did the meeting as we would today with a chair. No action was taken on a chair or vice chair. It's stagnant right now, which is going to create a problem as documents start to flow through the CFC next year. As there are documents such as charters and consolidated plans that need and follow through a particular document flow.
Yeah, I know. You know,
Well, and I accepted my nomination with the understanding that we would have a funders council and a funders chair.
that's true. And I thank you for that, Kevin, because I agree with Kevin's, what I can see the wheels turning in Kevin's brain there is, you know, we couldn't take action on it today necessarily anyway, Monica, with what they've asked us to consider.
And they didn't expect anybody action. This
Okay.
was, they asked me to, the motion for them was that I bring it up to you.
Okay.
That was all.
I do think that it's kind of a workaround, and that it would be a trap. If we agreed to it, I really do believe it would be a trap. And the trap that I'm referencing is that everything would literally fall to the Providers Council. And we would not have independent separation by the funders, which is what we need.
Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I understand where you're coming from, Kevin. Is I do think that one of the things that has struck me really in the last year plus is the benefit of those meetings being together Like I understand when we kind of created this that we felt the need to have separate councils, but I can understand, not for the reason that they're giving,
Correct.
but I can understand where, I think there's a greater benefit of having funders and providers in the room together more often than not. And that, yes, we're going to have to change the charter and change all these things. I understand that. But do we need to have the two separate committees? Is the benefit of that outweigh the benefit of those meetings being structured a little different, but with funders and providers together? I think I think it's a discussion to be had, because not so that we can add another thing to Kevin's list or your list of things that we got to do. But I mean, it's been my opinion, at least, and just my opinion, that I've gotten more out of those meetings collectively. Because when we have historically providers meetings and they have funders meetings, once we started sort of talking collectively, I see a great benefit to that. And I'm just wondering, is that the benefit so much that we at least consider having just the one committee? And I don't know, or one council, or I don't know if it's a HUD requirement to have a separate thing. I don't know.
Kevin.
I agree with what you're saying. However, there still needs to be leadership then. We would need to structure the whole chair, vice chair process, and there need to be language that required funders to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Those memberships, because what I'm not going to do is run a meeting where I don't have any leadership from the Funders Council to have dialogue with, and then I'm stuck in this very bad, awkward position.
Yeah, the context that I would add to the devil's advocate, right, that Michael is bringing forward is that the reason I would agree with you 100% that those meetings, that we got the most out of those meetings. What I would also add, however, is that the reason for that was because Duggan and I met ad nauseum prior to those meetings. And Duggan was working those issues through Funders Council while we were working those issues through Providers Council. And then those joint meetings allowed all of that prior work, so to speak, to kind of come to the table pretty succinctly. Without that, it would not have been some of the most productive meetings. And so all of this began, as you know, when Duggan, for all the right reasons, no doubt, I'm not questioning his decision, but when he made the decision to resign rather suddenly as the chair of Funders Council without having a backup, that's when it stopped. And so I do think without their leadership, we would have a very difficult time getting the progress that we've seen to date.
Is there a list of contacts for that Funders Council that, since Kevin is now
Absolutely.
the head of the chain, that you could maybe reach out to them, Kevin, and talk to them, let them know, that you're the head now, and kind of see if there's somebody who's kind of willing to do it, or maybe there's a different person at Juvenile Welfare Board that can do it, that does have some time. I know that they're on Teams meetings constantly back to back, but there could be somebody different. But maybe you can go down the list and just kind of friendly reach out and see, if there's anybody who's actually interested.
I think it's a great idea, and there's nothing that would prevent Kevin from doing that. What I can say, though, is that per the charter, right, that we've been trying to work the charter on it, which is that that the executive committee, and I can't remember how it reads, but essentially that if there isn't a volunteer or nominee or something, right, the executive committee, I think, has to appoint them. Is that correct, Monica? Am I remembering that
That
correctly?
is correct.
So the executive committee, and I mean, I'll certainly follow up. I have not had an opportunity to speak to Kathleen, who is the chair of the COC, since their meeting this morning, but there will be an appointment. The thing that I thought about, Monica, and I don't know what you think about this, is, you know, both of our charters outline that there are some funders who also identify as providers, and that they have to choose, you know, which council is their predominant council. And so the entity that I thought of as perhaps being a good fit, and I don't know what you think about this or what any of you think about this, is the housing authorities. You know, if they because they are also funders, as I see it, because of vouchers and those kinds of things, is, you know, could one of the housing authorities jump sides, so to speak, and become funders? They are also providers. Do you see what I'm saying, Kevin? Like, could they possibly, because then, you know, perhaps, because we have two, if not three, right, on the COC. They're already at the COC board.
I feel like this is a funders council
I know. I just don't-
responsibility. Like,
It is.
why is that suddenly I have no problem coming and sitting at the table and having some discussions on what this looks like, but you know, this suddenly shouldn't become a provider council's role and responsibility to figure out the structure of the funders council as it sits according to the charter. But if there are concerns or barriers, or they want to discuss it changing and how it looks in the future, you know, I'm all about coming together and having some healthy dialogue there.
I agree.
I mean,
And
I don't know that it's worth the effort of my time to reach out to individual funders on this issue. I mean, I was at the last meeting where this issue already came up when Duggan resigned, and everybody was there in the room. I was there in the room. I can't force them to do something, but then I feel like if there's no one there willing to do it, then their responsibility is to do this kind of thing and reach out to other potential funders that are willing to sit in those spots.
I agree. I just do. And so I'll reach out to Kathleen after this, and just to let them know that, you know, that Kevin in particular, but others on Providers Council would be willing to meet with the Funders Council to help them problem solve. Lieutenant Hayes.
So since the executive committee, since you and Monica said that the executive committee initially will eventually have to appoint someone, has there been any conversation, from the executive committee to the members of the Funders Council?
I would say there's been multiple.
I would too.
Yeah, multiple conversations. Kathleen was on the funders call this morning. I know that multiple members of the executive committee, April and Sean, have reached out to people, as is council member Vic Sanders. Again, you know, whether a real or not, the answer we keep getting is again, we got it again today. Our legal department is telling us not to do it.
Because originally it was, they didn't know what their legal department would say.
Yeah, so
and then
now they've gone back, and
Okay.
now the legal has said it's a conflict.
And so that would be true for a handful.
It seems like it's a hostile give up, and they're wanting us to solve their issue. And I get it. I get the conflict, but I get what Mike's saying. You know, every piece makes some sort of sense, but so I don't want it to fall to this council to solve their issues when really it should be coming from the executive committee. I don't want us to beat ourselves up and try to have to figure out their issues.
Well, then, we also have Monica's departure as it rolled into all this as well in a couple weeks. And my nomination is a recommendation from Providers Council. So I'm not even formally officially the chair of Providers Council till the board approves it. And they also need to approve a chair of the Funders Council at the same time. So we're at a standstill.
Yeah, and just for clarification for some of our newer members, what our recommendation is, they do need to take formal action on it, but it is not it's not a yes or a no. It's a formality.
Yeah.
Right. It's just I
It's
don't
an
want to say yes.
affirmation.
Yes, right. So, but
So
you
they
are
don't
correct.
vote?
Yes, but you are correct, Kevin, and that's per charter. So per the charter, our recommendation stands, and they bless it at the following meeting. But nonetheless, we still have to have quorum at the meeting, and we still have to have the membership of the COC, which includes a Funders Council chair, and so it is an issue. I certainly don't want to minimize and suggest that it isn't, because it is. And I agree with Lieutenant Hayes, which is, this is not our egg. This is not our problem to solve. If we can be helpful with helping them problem solve it or think it through, maybe they're not thinking all the things through, but thank you, Victoria, for giving us the language. It is a vote of confidence that it's held, that would be held. But nonetheless, I agree with Lieutenant Hayes that this is not our problem to solve. And it is executive committees. If the Funders Council themselves cannot find their way through, it is executive committee's responsibility to do. And so I will circle back as a member of executive committee until December 31st. I will circle back with Kathleen after this call. Yes, Kevin.
Back to the dates.
Yeah.
The 6 dates, I mean, provided that a lot could change as far as those dates I do have 2 of the 6 conflicts, June 21st and December 13th. The 13th is the Jingle Bell Run, and there's just no way I'll be able to do that. And the 21st, I'm out of town. So as long as you're willing, you're able to run those as the co-chair, then they can stay.
Okay, and we can look at your calendar and propose different dates. December, we can probably fix, right? We have a long time to do that.
Yep.
And even the June meeting, I do think that the Funders Council
That's the bigger issue right now.
is right. And that may then also change
Correct.
dates. We typically take action on the calendar in December for the upcoming year, which is the reason I felt the need to do that.
Yeah.
And to get those the room secured at Habitat for Humanity. So we certainly have February 23rd taken care of. If that date works, then we'll move forward with that, at least that date, and then kind of deal with the rest as we get into the new year. All right, you guys, we have completed our agenda and all the action that we needed to take place today. Kevin did mention that that Monica will be leaving us at the end of December. She's accepted a new position. So Pam Qualls, who is the chair of the HLA Board of Directors, has agreed to step in as the interim CEO while they embark on a search for their new CEO. So we will be looking forward to working with Pam. Many of you probably remember Pam. Pam was a member of the Providers Council for many, many, many years, and is, quite familiar with the Homeless Leadership Alliance and the system. So I anticipate that we will, it'll be as smooth as it could possibly be with an unplanned departure. And so I'm sure you'll hear lots about that as as we move forward.
I can provide additional information. The role has been posted on Indeed. So if you know of anybody great, that would be amazing stewards of the HLA team, please send them to Indeed. I know Pam would be more than happy to speak with anybody about the role as well. And it's been an honor, guys, and I wish you all amazing luck. I'll be the chief of staff for the Dean of the College of Nursing at USF. So if anybody knows anybody actually that wants to go to nursing school, there is funds right now to get people through nursing school for free in the state of Florida at USF. Just thought I'd add that. Post-bac or a traditional program. It's been an honor, guys, and I just wish you all the best. And thank you for letting me spend some time with you all.
Good luck in your new role, Monica.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. So with that, if there's, is there anything else for the good of the order for this meeting?
Just
Merry
super quick.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry
Just
Christmas.
saying, just want to echo the sentiments. Thank you for all of your work and service, Monica, and we wish you nothing but the best. Happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you. Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.
Yeah.
Bye,
Don't
Holidays all.
forget to register for PIT.
And
It's
don't
important.
forget to
January
register for
20th.
PIT.
I know, and if we know anyone who wants to be a nurse, come on now.
Come on, guys. For free. You can be a nurse for free.
Hey, did the school board ever come back? Did anyone talk to them? Because when I had mentioned it, I think I mentioned it to both you, Monica, and
And they told us they would
Maria.
be back after December 5th. We've heard nothing. Nothing.
Well,
nothing.
that's not completely true. You guys, that's not completely true. The board, the school board secretary, executive administrative assistant, I don't know her exact title, Lovely, reached out to me directly and asked some clarifying questions about, the number of hours, how much they need to serve, how many committees, that kind of stuff. So they are actively working on identifying the school board member who will be appointed by their leadership to sit on the COC. So, and
that's not what I'm talking about,
Oh.
April.
Oh.
I had made the suggestion based on one of our meetings earlier in the year to Kevin Hendrick that we really encourage for Bright Futures seniors in high school
Gotcha.
to,
Yes.
to do that as a community service issue. We should get all we want. And he seemed to like the idea. And so I just think it's such a easy way to get some real depth of volunteers. I don't know if it might be worth trying to follow up with them since they're only in for another week.
My apology. Yes. Oh, so you're talking about the PIT, participating in PIT for credit.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. My apology. So I'd be happy to, Dr. Cantrell's here. She leaves us also at the end of the year. And Erica's here.
Days.
How many days?
4 working days.
4. Oh no. But Erica's here. We love Erica, and Erica is going to be a lovely addition. But Dr. Cantrell, do you know anything about if that made its way through?
I have not heard anything about that part of it yet. I can verify what you had said earlier about they are working for somebody for the board. That I heard
Yeah.
the same thing that you did, but I had not heard anything about getting seniors to, for volunteer work and stuff like that. I have not heard anything about that. I can check with our supervisor to see if she's heard anything.
And to be totally honest, that was an assignment that was given to somebody who is no longer with our organization. So I cannot follow up with them directly. But I have the contact information, so I can follow up that way as well on that one. And then Dr. Cantrell, I can send you the information as well directly.
Okay. And it'll of course go to Erica.
You're right. You're right, Erica. I'll send you the information directly. Dr. Cantrell, you don't worry about it.
But it has been a pleasure though too, serving on this providers council for all these years and getting to know everybody. So but I'm like a bad penny. I keep showing up. So you will not see the end of me though.
That's wonderful news. We're grateful for that. We hope that you take 3 or 4 days to rest in your retirement, and then you just, get right back on the horse. You know what I mean? Okay. Is there anything else for the good of the order?
I will go ahead and say that if you have not renewed your 2023 COC membership, please do so by December 29th. Otherwise, you won't be able to vote in the January 12th elections. On that note, COC membership is required annually for access to HMIS. So if you are an HMIS using organization who have not renewed your COC membership for 2023, please do so immediately. On that note, also, board of directors applications and renewals are due on December 22nd. If you are a member of the board, you should have that in your email already. Thank you to everybody who's already done it. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Dr. Cantrell, if you feel like using that retirement to join the board of directors, I am happy to send that link too.
Go ahead and send the link, but I'll have to explain it to my husband for a little while there first, but.
Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it right here first. I'll go ahead and I'll send that.
Victoria, please monitor the list carefully around COC membership and board applications and those kinds of things. But COC membership in particular, sometimes it gets away from people because of the time of the year. If you are seeing that we have providers who have not done that, if you could shoot me a list maybe by Monday or Tuesday, because I can help follow up with them before people go out on break to see if we can't make sure that all gets done before January 1st.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Victoria, is there a renewal reminder in that system or whatever? Because
we received a renewal reminder. We got the email, so I assume that everybody else got it too.
Yeah, I'm the renewal reminder.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't missing something because we didn't renew, and then we got your email and kind of immediately went in there and did it. But if there was some other mechanism, I wanted to make sure we were getting connected that, so you're not having to be the one to do that. So
I appreciate it. Yeah, we send out like in the newsletters and in the meetings and in the meeting packets and things like that throughout the year. So yeah, it's me. So if anybody starts getting harassed,
I need to pay better attention to those things. Okay, I hear you.
That's okay. That's okay. Next year I'm going to propose multi-year membership so that this is not an annual thing. But
you got my vote.
Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. If anybody doesn't have those links and needs them, please let me know. And I can maybe have Lenny just forward them out after this meeting anyway, just to be sure. If you don't mind, Lenny.
Okay, last call.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. Last call. Anybody have anything else for the good of the order? Okay, thank you so very much for jumping on this meeting. It's been a great discussion, and happy holidays to everybody. I hope you have a safe and Merry Christmas and all the other holidays that we are celebrating this time of the year.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. Okay, you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.